All right, I did just capture images of what is group stalking as I step out of the room and witnessing third parties in relevant position. And what I'm speaking to was the audible activity that the state was creating in the room. So as I'm getting up and putting on clothes, which the entity is listening to, the knocking is heard on the opposite side of the wall where the refrigerator and the mirror is. And then you have a group stalker that is standing outside at the staircase. That's relevant positioning, operation of a communication device. You have the group stalker of 224, relevant positioning. You've already seen that demon literally doing the same thing, and you see all the light that the state is spreading all across the walls on the outside of the building. Absolutely impossible to be naturally occurring. This is P.O.C. as I am stepping out of the room in order to capture the minions. I want to be clear, like I've stated, the state's fake sun remains over the venue, and that is also what I'm going to capture. It is 11:43 a.m. And the state that is monitoring the documentation fails at trying to contradict the fact that it runs with its light source. As you can hear, Amazon Prime engaging in P.O.C. That's all intentional conduct while the entity is listening as a group listening to me document. License plate 7JHY690, 6JZE097, 8Y45059. USPS using the hazards on its vehicle in relevant position on the surveillance cameras the entire time that I'm using my phone. Engaging in form by delivering the mail. Creating light activity under the state's fake sun. Acting with Amazon Prime that's driving north on Euclid. Using its hazards lights even as it proceeds to drive. Remaining in relevant position out of the parking lot. Acting with the state. That is the state actually. USPS is a state actor engaging in monitoring an American citizen in violation of 18 U.S.C. section 2261A. 8Y45059, 8EDV437, 7DAJ462, 8DST505, 7AQC967, RMW4839, 8FSC048, 8HIG817, 00886K1, 7VHR776, 7HF432, that's a Hawaii, license plate, 6HEG839, 7BXK084, 8KPL532, 4HUU506, 86614D1, 77205J2, and let's see, 7BAS 727. Group stalkers loitering in relevant position at Mobile. Let me be clear, Walmart, commercial vehicle, they're patrolling off of the freeway just like I showed you how Amazon Prime was. Engaging in that intentional presence under the state's light source. 6PGJ524, 7WCM708, 6BVA896, 6RGW399, This is Electron Plating 3 Inc. California number 0369594, license plate 4573982. License 7R40521. Show you what group stalking is in relevant position. He's at the mobile next door. He's loitering in relevant position, and the state's fixed sentence remaining over my head while he does so. He's monitoring with the rest of them. It is currently, that's a group stalker that knows exactly that they're being documented. They know exactly, just like they're monitoring, they know exactly what I'm documenting. License plate 8503783. I want to be clear, the license plate that I recited, there's a Car Key Masters. That's a commercial vehicle with the license plate 77205J2. That's a commercial vehicle. So I want to show also what is the movement of the state's fake sun. Here it is. Good day, sir. I didn't hear you. Lock my door? Oh, knock? Oh, I thought you want me to knock, or you're gonna knock? Oh, okay. Oh, they're gonna knock today? Or? Yeah. Today? Oh, okay. Is that why there's no TV? My TV's not working. Oh, okay. Do you know how long that's gonna take? Because you know there's nothing to do here but watch TV. You know there's nothing to do here but watch TV. Okay. That's cool. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, you keep telling me that nobody's come and told me nothing, but thank you. Have a good one. All right, it is 11:50 a.m. and it is the same day. It's June 1st, 2021. That's audible activity while I'm standing at the door, having to go down to the office for them to scan the card. Understand that's an unnecessary task. They know exactly the duration of the stay. They engage in what is I call follow through after they are documented engaging in harassment. Not engaging in it. Understand the specific act of my documenting it is when they engage in follow through. So because I documented the fact that they were engaged in routinely locking me out of my room, especially as I go out and I document the demons that are monitoring with the state, then they engage in, oh, you have to because your stay has been extended. And I just want to be clear, you don't actually have to physically, I've already stated this, but it's already clear. You don't have to physically go to the office to have your card work with the door. And as I've also shown in video, as even after going through that process, which is subjecting me to additional criminal activity, which is an ongoing threat. They're harassing and they're monitoring. They are doing so, which is after I even go downstairs and comply with what is their form for criminal harassment, okay? Stating that the card's not working because I have to go down and have it scanned, regardless of the fact that the stay has been extended, and that's not true. You don't have to do that. They have the ability in the office to activate or deactivate those cards. And what he is stating is audible activity. Spectrum hasn't been engaged in. Spectrum is a third party acting in concert with the state, using the inanimate object, which is also a communication device inside of the room to monitor, and is a sex offender in that regard, monitoring in the same exact way in concert with the state, all right? Even engaging in complementary conduct, literally, as the demonic entity is acting, monitoring what I'm doing on the internet, Spectrum acting with the state will fly over by plane or circle above by helicopter, and Spectrum engages in using the television in concert with it. That's the sort of conduct that Spectrum has also engaged in. It is one entity acting together. And I want to be clear, the same conduct is occurring at all hours, as I've documented, for a prolonged period, and it had nothing to do, and it does not have anything to do with some claim by a third party who was monitoring under a fake sun, under the state's directed light, where it is within the conformity to an ongoing pattern of conduct that is documented as to a state that is monitoring with communication devices, stating that another third party is doing repair. This is the claim, and this is why the television is off now, and that they're going to be doing some repair. Okay, this is all form for monitoring conduct, by the way, even down to the moment that they arrive and engage in form, just like I showed you with third-party group stalker Next Level, drill and mill working. That company was engaging in the state's P.O.C. and all of the same hallmarks. That's all the entity is doing. And so I just want to provide context to that, and Spectrum is already heavily documented in that regard anyway. But it is 11:53 a.m., and this is what group stalkers do. I'm going to go ahead and show you in images. This is what they do both while I'm in the room. That is not the removal of that it's P.O.C. They are aware of what I'm doing while I'm in the room. This is sitting in the car in the white Scion. That's what I'm taking an image of with license plate 8HEG839. And this is remaining in relevant position. Understand while the state's fake sun is moving back and forth to remain over my head. Remain at this venue. The state's fake sun remains present over this venue while I am here. I have already established this. All right, and you have what is the impossible light activity that is also complementing the criminal activity that I continue to document. This is while I walked, which is back toward the room. A group stalker comes out in relevant position. The entirety of the environment is what prefaces what they are doing. And I want to be clear, you see that door closure? You hear that door closure? No way is that ever going to result in that's audible activity that you're listening to. All right, so I want to be clear, Spectrum is engaged in P.O.C. as I'm documenting it. And that's facilitation by the venue itself knocking on the door. That's relevant positioning that I'm taking an image of, and also the ongoing light activity. So while I'm standing on the, and I'm gonna take a picture of that. So let me give you a picture of that. What you're hearing in the back. Alrighty, that was audible activity created in the state's directed light created by Spectrum, which the state is amplifying. Okay, what you're also going to want to look at is the light activity as I'm capturing it, as the door is cracked open, rich concentrated light, more so than is captured on the door as I crack it open. So let me show you this. a.m. And it is Tuesday, June 1st, 2021. The television remains out of operation. Understand, even as I just captured the group stalker itself, not only is Spectrum group stalking in relevant position, Spectrum is monitoring on the venue of the internet, because that's what this communication device is. It's operated by internet, and that also is not the explanation for the inability to watch television. I want to be clear on that. And this is the exact same conduct that is already heavily documented, as Spectrum is ceaselessly engaged P.O.C. And I also want to show what is ongoing evidence of operation of internet, the pop-up effect of All right, it is June 1st, 2021. This is Third Party Group Stalkers. Spectrum. You can listen to the activity. Providing audible activity monitoring with the state. And this is what was amplified. I already captured this on the Economy In podcast, but I want to isolate it to Spectrum engaging in its own exhibit of criminal activity with the state at this venue in a private space, monitoring not only a relevant position, but on the venue of the internet. And that is amplification of audible activity. All right, and understand it's also equally loud when they're not in the room. As though they're in the room, it's also equally loud when the state is amplifying their activity while they're in relevant position outside of the room. That's what the group stalker was doing as I captured. Pay attention to my podcast that I captured the group stalker standing out on the band case while Spectrum is in relevant position in an adjacent room, not even right next to the room, but a room past, which I captured on video, and the state was creating the knocking noises through the mirror. All right, that's supposed to be the explanation for that. That's Spectrum engaged in P.O.C, criminal activity. criminal activity of third-party spectrum, engaging in the same exact criminal act, doing so in relevant position today under the form of repairing that which is a constant use by the state to monitor and by the people to monitor. It is no different. Stops it as I stop my camera from recording. That's stalking with activity conduct. This is demonic activity you're witnessing. It's criminal, but it's also demonic. The other thing you're going to want to pay attention to, as I documented myself walking back inside of the room, as I showed, and the light activity that was on the ceiling. All right, so what you're listening to is that which is the direct evidence against the people of the state acting via spectrum, surrounding in relevant position, engaging in presence in the state's directed light, and the state is also amplifying that activity. And I also captured it in video, and this is also shared with the documentation that I've also published pursuant to Economy N. I have isolated spectrum, an egregious actor acting on behalf of the state inside of a private space to monitor an American citizen, to sexually violate an American citizen, and harass and threaten. on behalf and in concert with the state. So that's what this podcast is related to, Spectrum in particular. But Spectrum, again, represents the people. That is nothing but a commercial actor monitoring under all the same elements, even inside of a private space, showing how an entity is able to systematically monitor an American citizen, even in your home, using a television that's the venue of the internet, inside of a private space that's speaking to the level of the criminal activity by the government in concert with the people in your home, and also in relevant position, as Spectrum is also doing. And again, they have identified themselves as Spectrum. There is nothing on their clothes. They don't say Spectrum on their clothes, and there's no Spectrum vehicle in the parking lot, as I've already walked through and showed the state's fake sun remaining over my head as I walked to different ends of the parking lot, and I documented all the license plates. So you want to be clear of that as well, okay? That was an amplification of audible activity, what was supposed to be through another side of the wall, which the state is doing on a daily basis, as I've shown. So this is revealing what is the character of the people. And that is also deduced by I'm giving you context. It's demonic activity, all right? But you're looking at what is the absence of any legal claim of coincidence or accident. It is absolutely intentional, concerted conduct. What do demons do? They totally disregard the environment, and they have to, because there is no explanation for it, especially the light activity that is surrounding. All right, that is P.O.C. And I want to be clear: this so-called third-party spectrum, that's how they identify themselves as. This is what I showed in my video as I stepped out of the room. That was the presence while I was telling you what was knocking heard through the. The state is targeting that audible activity and amplifying it, while the outward form is supposed to be Spectrum is doing repairs. But I want to be clear, you're not hearing through the walls. On the opposite side of this building, it's a field, all right? Grocery outlets on the opposite side of that field. There's nothing behind the wall. And that knocking sound is heard where that refrigerator area is, where the mirror is located, and it was occurring with simultaneity to my movement into that part of the room. Okay, the state concentrates its activity to where I'm at. All right. And then you see what, as I stepped out, and this is published on my podcast pursuant to Economy in Activity Creation for the same day, Tuesday, June 1st, 2021. Today, I have isolated Spectrum as they have identified themselves, regardless of the fact that I don't see anything on their attire that says Spectrum. They're wearing blue shirts. Nothing says Spectrum on it, though. They're working on a Spectrum box, and there is no Spectrum vehicle. I just want to make sure I keep reiterating those details. And I also have the ongoing occurrence. That's supposed to be the form for what was the knocking sound. The state, I have captured the same exact conduct, by the way, when there was nobody identifying themselves as Spectrum as the cause of being some construction. You cannot actually hear what is knocking through the walls unless the state is actually creating that noise. All right. And that's what they're engaging in as well. That's the same tactic over and over again. It's supposed to be occurring under the guise of some repair. I also captured, again, I'm going to reiterate, 2 rooms down is where this third-party group stalker was located, and you have what was knocking heard. I captured him on video, and he's working on the television. This one comes in here, and he drills on the wall behind the refrigerator to put in a wire. And that's supposed to be the form for hearing what is the knocking through the rooms. I went to, 229, and I'm in 227. So you're not going to hear knocking. That's the forum under which the state was creating audible activity and stalking with that activity while I'm moving around in the room. Okay, I just want to make sure I point that out. That's the state. That's concerted conduct. Their presence, the state's light, and their activity, which the state is amplifying. Because you're not naturally hearing what is supposed to be knocking coming from what was targeted in its location behind the mirror. Okay, that's P.O.C. It is 12:29 p.m. and they're just loitering in relevant position in the state's fake sun. I'm sorry, in the state's directed light. The state's fake sun is the object that is above the building in the parking lot. The directed light is aimed inside of the room, and this is why you see their shadows moving across the room as they walk past on the walkway, which is covered by a structure which would be providing shade. So this is the state aiming light horizontally through the doorway in whatever manner that it can. This is why it is inconsistent all over the place. As I showed, as I crack open the door, it's on the ceiling and it is behind the door. And then as it's open all the way, it is on the wall, which is the west wall where the television is at. Understand where they are concentrating their presence in the room. So as he moves around, this is a group stalker. As he moves around, as they are present, creating the form for the state's ongoing criminal activity, which is doing on a ceaseless basis, amplifying audible activity. They're just supposed to be the thing that you're looking at that's supposed to be the cause of that. That's a group stalker, all right? They are acting on behalf of the state. This is the state wearing the mask of what are commercial actors, the same group, which is the people of the state, engaging in intentional presence, engaging in intentional activity creation, engaging in concerted conduct with that entity, also revealing what is demonic activity, all right? And you're looking at what are the elements, and you are also, you're noting for purposes of federal prosecution, it happens to be a commercial actor, but this is what the people do corporately on a continuous basis, and this is what the state is doing through the people. It's 12:31 p.m. Oh, I took a picture of where this light activity is concentrated. I also want to be clear, when they first come in, the state begins this flashing of this big wall of light. I've described that, for example, in Starbucks, walls of light. That's what the state was aiming over here, and it was bright flashing light as they're asking, oh, I need to get behind the refrigerator, I need to drill. And as they're inside of the room, the state is flashing light right here in this location where I just took images right now. And that's the sort of conduct, the criminal, threatening conduct that the people engage in. They're just present around, acting like it's not happening. This is why you document as well. And that's going to the prosecution of the people. That's going directly toward the prosecution of the people that are fully engaged in the state's pattern of conduct by virtue of their presence. But I'm just showing, I'm coloring the character. All right, those are psychopaths. That's a psychopath. Let me also speak to if they're not American citizens, they're going to be deported. Just having a good old time, just monitoring away. This psychopath out here, the same heavy set one, while knocking was heard at the back side of the room, and I step out and I capture this psychopath while my shadow is appearing on the door in the shade, the walkway. She's out monitoring again. She's just out visibly. They're monitoring corporately on a ceaseless basis, and they are sex offenders in that regard as well. Audible activity, light activity, and the state's directed light. 12:33 p.m. So what he's actually doing, he's just patrolling back and forth and in and out. That's patrolling conduct in the state's directed light. So I'm taking a picture of the door. How much longer are you going to be?
About a minute or two.
Oh, okay. So what is this supposedly repairing? Because Spectrum came before and you guys just created a bunch of noise while the same circus of lights occurred and you did the same thing, interruption of the television. So what is this supposed to fix now? I'm just getting statements from the third parties. P.O.C. continues and use of the television continues. But you recall in April when I documented Spectrum coming in and monitoring just like they are now, claiming to be Spectrum, and we'll go with that. You want to claim to be Spectrum, you'll go with that. You'll be prosecuted under that title. Do you have an answer now? Hello?
What?
I said, what's it going to fix?
It's going to be for the TV. It's new wiring.
It just needs rewiring?
It's new wiring.
So is that going to result in the parental blocks not appearing on the television anymore?
That I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It's up to the owner. I don't know what he's gonna.
The parental blocks are up to the owner. Okay. And what about the pop-up that said program unavailable, no lock, 0.1050?
That was because we unplugged it from the back end.
Really? You guys do that at all hours?
Yeah.
Oh, why do you unplug the television? So you're saying it's not internet operated?
No.
You're taking out a plug,
No,
and that's what.
It's not internet operated though.
He's lying. Okay. Spectrum, that's actually in conflict with the very product that Spectrum advertises. That's weird. And it's IP television. That's weird.
Yeah, it will be fiber once. It'll be fiber connect once we're done with the whole thing.
Right, but it is internet television.
No.
How is it IP? It has IP number. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's not internet though.
Yeah, the other the dude Spectrum, not that I needed him to, but we already had a conversation. It's definitely got an IP number. It's internet operated.
Yeah, it's actually coax.
It's actually what?
It's coax.
Coax?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I see a coaxial cable.
Yeah.
But it is internet operated.
It isn't.
Oh, what's the IP number then? What's that for?
That I don't know.
Okay. All right. That's enough audible activity. Thank you. An IP number is speaking to the operation of internet, and this is also the audible activity in the state's directed light. And this is also speaking to what is the ongoing the activity as I've documented is speaking to the control of internet. And you're talking about what is the use of the internet to engage in the activity as I've documented it, and a third-party group stalker also engaging in denying that obvious information in conflict. I don't even think that they're Spectrum, but I want to be clear they identified themselves as Spectrum and they're loitering in relevant position just where 224 was, acting with the overweight heavyset one from 228. They're on both sides. That's P.O.C. Thank you. That's hilarious. Well, it's hilarious in that it's pathetic. I've already shown that it's IP television and it is internet operated, and Spectrum and Edison engaging in activity creation, exercising control in the ways that it has at its disposal to create activity on the television screen, using the television. Edison using power, all right, to power off the television, and what you see is the IP number. You see all the information speaking to the operation of internet using that TV as I power it back on, and also what is the internet sourced ability for the front office and Spectrum to control operation of this television, to block options available to me inside of the room. But that is good documentation for what is coming out of the mouth of a group stalker about the function of and the character of the Spectrum service. And again, they rely on the ignorance of someone who's documenting it. That's why you have blatant, just idiotic statements coming out of his mouth. Identifying themselves as Spectrum, again, nothing on their outward appearance says Spectrum, and no Spectrum vehicles on the property as well. I just want to note that. But volunteering themselves as Spectrum, okay? Just because you're coming in and drilling holes and stating that you are Spectrum and you're touching a Spectrum box inside of the room does not in fact mean that you're Spectrum. But understand, this is going to be documented under Spectrum. This is pursuant to claim of needing to be inside of the room. This is the same invasion. This is the same threat that I documented. Next level, for example, providing forum for maintaining presence in the state's light, all manner of a threat and harassment while you're monitoring, okay? And the state of mind, aware of the fact, understand what the state is doing. Not only is it engaged in criminal monitoring, but the state is very, very much averse to my continuing publishing of the documentation. For example, what I just finished publishing online about December 11th, 2020, and I am speaking to what is the state's criminal system and the precipitating harms suffered, which are in many ways not capable of being quantified, as I am speaking to the various police departments and the sheriff's offices and the municipalities, the third-party venues where I formerly was employed, and or third-party venues which are religious organizations that I formerly affiliated with, all of them engaged in the state's pattern of conduct of federal group stalking and monitoring. This is that which is documented and published, and the state is very averse to and does not want me to continue to focus on that. And so what I am aware of, what the state has engaged in, a pattern that the state engages in, is providing ongoing evidence, because that's what it is. The state anticipates my documenting it. All right, they come in, engage in what they know is bare bones P.O.C. That what the state is doing is already exposed. Okay, the entity knows this, and the defeated, futile effort is for you're getting into the mind of a criminal, all right, of a psychopath, really, one who sees no way out, and it's basically a lesser of two evils in their mindset, okay, because what they're doing is evil. What I'm doing is speaking to cast light on what's been going on in the darkness for a long time. And so the lesser of two evils would be for me to focus on what they come in the room and what they're doing, get video of that, focus on that, rather than continue documenting, for example, or publishing my podcast as I'm going back in time and getting it all in order and placing it into even more context. Because all of this documentation already exists. I'm actually putting it in more of a palatable order. So you see, starting with where I'm starting as far as time, when I start documenting, and you're looking at how the story is occurring day by day by day, and what I'm documenting, and you're also getting a greater look into what the state is engaged in, aside from me describing it to you, aside from you even seeing it, because I'm not only describing it, I'm showing you in video. You're looking at what I'm describing. I'm not making it up. I'm not exaggerating, and I don't have to. And I'm also not interested in that. So if I wanted to be like some sort of, I guess, social media focus of some regard, which you're not getting positive attention anyway. So there's nothing for me to desire to want to make any of this up at all whatsoever. All right. And the state, the P.O.C. engages in defamation. So I'm not voluntarily trying to put myself out there to make up some fantastical story. So you're looking at the greater context as it's put in a sequence, day by day, not only my podcast, but of my documentation that you can see, the pictures and the screenshots and the videos. And this is providing greater context, and the state is monitoring that and does not want that. So as I document, for example, it was earlier this morning, you're talking about the Pomona Police Department, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, the Fontana Police Department, the Ontario Police Department, the Costa Mesa Police Department, the city of Costa Mesa, the city of Pomona, the city of Diamond Bar, the city of Ontario. Did I already mention the Ontario Police Department? They're heavily documented. I mean, that already goes, I've already established that, but I'm speaking to all of the other police departments, and that's still not even touching on the long-term documentation that I have with regard to the totality of the criminal act, okay, that is speaking to the state's pattern of conduct, all right? I'm just focused on the podcast. And that is filtering onto my website. And this is what the state is focused on. And engaging in this sort of conduct, which with Next Level is a commercial actor engaging in the state's criminal pattern of conduct at this venue inside of a private space, waging a threat, an unlawful threat of a federal level on behalf of and in concert with the government, the state, that is monitoring with communication devices, and these third parties who identify themselves, albeit absent any mark on their exterior or of their presence in totality of being Spectrum, but it shall nonetheless be attributed to spectrum. Everything that's coming out of the mouth of a third-party group stalker is not only audible activity, but to be used against them. That's fine. They identify themselves as spectrum, and they come in drilling holes in the walls, claiming that you need a new coaxial cable, and then denying that it's internet, television, whatever. Okay, so you have P.O.C. and the state would rather me focus on that. It's supposed to be some sort of distraction. And this is just context. The P.O.C. is the P.O.C. But like my focus, and I'm very thorough in speaking to not only the what is, it's monitoring. This is why you're group stalking, because you're monitoring. And the you monitoring, that's the government, okay? That is the state of California, the public entity that's monitoring. And how it does that, through the people of the state. The people of the state engages in the state's pattern of conduct intentionally, not ignorantly, not accidentally, not coincidentally, all right? And by the way, that amount of coincidence is impossible. So claiming that it's coincidence over and over again is disingenuous. Okay, you're talking about concerted conduct. You are talking about you are already looking at the pattern of conduct by the state. You know that this is intentional. The activity that surrounds that is amplified in volume. It is unnatural. It is also taking on the character of stalking with the very audible activity that is created. That is speaking to intent, which is reasonably deduced. It is directly related to the activity as it is engaged in by the people of the state. It is having a tendency to complement the criminal pattern of conduct that the state is engaging in for purposes of monitoring with communication devices. That is reasonably deduced as the intent on the part of the people of the state that is affecting, creating, resulting in the criminal monitoring with communication devices. And that result is superseding any legally irrelevant claim of an accident or ignorance. It really does not matter, because that's how a public entity is monitoring, and it's not, and I'm showing how it is not doing so ignorantly. A third party being in the state's directed light, moving around in the state's directed light, while their shadow is moving all over the place and they're acting ignorant to that, is in no way suggesting that they are ignorant of that impact that it has, or they are ignorant that it's occurring, or they are ignorant as to the criminal result, which is monitoring with communication devices and harassing and threatening while doing so on a corporate level. That is not suggesting that whatsoever. You're looking at what's called malice. That's what that is showing. And that is also reasonably concluded under the totality of circumstances. And even as you look at it at episode by episode, and by episode I mean not literally podcast episodes, but I mean scenario by scenario, you are also able to look at what is the malice that they're acting with. You can act like it's not happening all you want. You can ignore it. Guess what? That's what third parties do. This is the malice of the system. Right? And let me be clear, when you're dealing with a targeted individual such as myself, who has literally broken down the activity that they're engaged in, and I'm pointing out what is it that you're going to focus on. Not the fact that they want to act like it's not happening. They just happen to be here while what they're doing is extraordinarily loud. And it is also compared to when they're not in the room, and it is at that same exact volume level. And it is also that which is attributed to what was heard in the room before they even came in the room, which you're not hearing through 2 rooms down. That's providing outward form while you are monitoring. Even before you come into the room, you're on the property. The state is using your presence to create audible activity, while the state is also present with its fake sun over the venue, which also, by the way, is no explanation for what is the impossible light activity, the directed light inside of the room while you're present, moving all around in it. Speaking to what is criminal monitoring and demonic activity. Okay, so you're listening to what is the demonic actor outside of the room, amplifying. That's the Spanish-speaking group stalker, identifying himself as spectrum, using his presence to create audible activity. That's analogous to jingling keys, for example. The ways that the deputies engaged in stalking with activity, the ways that the state engaged in amplifying the sound of keys when they weren't even in the jail unit while I remained kidnapped. The ways in which third-party group stalkers at Woodside Senior Apartments, and again, you're talking about they're merely present. That's the state that's amplifying the sound of what is keys. That's what this third-party group stalker is doing right now. You're hearing. That's the entity that wants to distract from the point. It's not a distraction. Everything that they are doing is ongoing evidence. I mean, you're talking about a prosecution that the people are in no way avoiding. And so I want to be clear with regard to the legal relevance. A group stalker not only has no credibility, okay, and everything that they're saying is nothing but audible activity. And whether they are saying it nicely or whether they are saying it in an overtly threatening manner, because everything that you say with a smile on your face, or whether you want to overtly display anger, is a threat. Understand, because it's accomplishing criminal monitoring and you represent the government. Everything that you're saying and doing, that's accomplishing that, which by virtue of your presence is accomplishing that, is a threat. So you have them coming into side of the space, which is exactly what next level drill and mill working did, as I documented that in the state's directed light. Coming in and engaging in ignorance to, which you're going to have to, what are you going to say about the light? If I were to ask you, well, what's that? They're going to, I don't know. What are you going to say? Because there is no explanation for that. And also, let me be clear, you're talking about an ordinary group stalker. They are not in any, as I've also heavily revealed and displayed, they are by no means any sophisticated or intelligent or competent actor. All you have to do is be present. All the state needs is your presence, okay? And the state itself also, also displaying this unsophisticated and unintelligent, desperate level of criminal activity creation. Speaking to what is a common sense breakdown, because it's not rocket science what I just showed you, that light activity that is appearing while you're in relevant position, that's concerted conduct. And you can act like you see it or you don't. This is why what I'm stating is irrelevant under the law, because that's the role of a third-party group stalker. You are best, especially when dealing with one that's documenting you, to keep your mouth shut. As far as the environment around you, because what are you going to say? You do not have an intelligent explanation for this light activity that is surrounding the state's light sources over the parking lot. There's a covered structure. It's supposed to appear as though there's shade, but I've also shown the state is always molesting with light. They are sex offenders in that regard, okay? They are monitoring with the state that's molesting with light, even in the shade. And by the way, that light activity is not naturally occurring. This is not rocket science. And then you're looking at what is the direct light you see inside of the room as it manifests, including in inconsistent manners. Not only is it inconsistent, it's impossible. But then the state is also inconsistent with its impossible light. The state's not aiming its impossible light at the same position every time. The state is aiming its light and its directed light all over the place inside of the room, wherever it can get inside. All right. And this is ongoing documentation, the direct evidence against the state. What's coming out of the mouth of a group stalker is nothing but audible activity. They have no credibility. All right. You will prosecute the people based on the existence of the state's pattern of conduct. You will prosecute the people based on the criminal result of monitoring, that facilitation, that conduct that has that facilitating impact. You will prosecute the people based upon the observation of that environment, which is speaking to the state's pattern of conduct. That's how you're going to prosecute them. And they will be silent at that forum as well. OK, and let me be clear. They won't be humming a word. They won't say anything. I bet you they won't say anything legally relevant. I tell you that. They won't say anything legally relevant or in the slightest commensurate with the criminal system as it has been captured and tailored to what is the precise articulation of the activity that they're engaged in, the criminal activity that they're engaged in, which is unprecedented because it's the government. So I just want to speak to what I just captured again, and what is, again, the defeated and futile effort, which is speaking to a threat and ongoing harassment by the people. That's all it's going to. And that is not only monitoring, but then engaging in harassment, because the state is wanting to, in any way that it can, try to distract from or divert attention away from what I'm doing, which it knows that I'm doing because it's monitoring, which is putting my podcast and my website in order. And it's not. This is on. I have mastered what is the, I guess I would say, being able to multitasking. The prosecution. It's not stopping anything. I mean, but this is what the entity does. And I have shown this time and time again, where it engages in more of the conduct, which is in no way suggesting that you're not monitoring, by the way. It engages in more of the conduct to divert my attention away from some very relevant point that I might be making that I'm documenting, or from something that I'm doing that the state doesn't want me to publish on the internet or doesn't want me to capture or something like that. And this is the mastery of multitasking. It's not stopping anything. It's not slowing anything down. It's not distracting away from anything. I want to speak to what is the criminal motive, which is not only to monitor, but it is to harass. It is to harass and to threaten, because that's what that's legally relevant to. All right. The monitoring entity is engaged in that corporate conduct together, and the ridiculous light activity, which is also focused on a different area in the room, as opposed to, as I showed just days earlier, if you pay attention to my podcast, the light activity that was focused in an entirely separate area, because that's where the group stalkers were, and this is what relevant to the state's inconsistent placement of directed light. But again, you're not ever going to be, even if the state were consistent at aiming at the same position inside of the room every time, it's directed light. It is impossible to naturally occur. That's what the definition of, that's what the hallmark of directed light is. It is absolutely unnatural, and it is not naturally occurring under any circumstances. And when you are establishing that that's occurring, it doesn't change where you go when you go to any other place. All right, so that is the tool that the state is using on a consistent basis, on a ceaseless basis. And so engaging in trying to aim that directed light in a consistent manner, even if the state was aiming at the same place all the time, every single time, if the state was even intelligent in that regard, all right, that is still directed light, period. I just want to be clear, because the entity is always trying to slice and dice between, and there is none. The pattern of conduct is established. Directed light is unnaturally occurring light that is intentionally present in the immediate environment for the criminal purpose of monitoring, while group stalkers surround in relevant position, both creating activity and in relevant position, while the state is creating activity and amplifying activity. That's what the purpose of directed light is. Okay, and the state is engaging in the ongoing provision of direct evidence against the people. This is how that criminal system is serving to prosecute itself. It is literally prosecuting itself. This is documentation of harassment and threatening conduct while the entity is ceaselessly monitoring. It's 12:56 p.m. It's Tuesday, June 1st, 2021. And this is the pattern of conduct as I have transitioned from the economy in episode, which I am focused on. This is activity creation in the room, but I want to be clear. They isolated it. They're claiming, meaning the third party group stalkers at the front desk, they claiming that this is spectrum. And I have already stated that there's nothing that's outwardly identifying themselves as spectrum, other than the fact that they came in and drilled in the walls and were touching the cable box. That's it. Other than the fact that they stated that, there is nothing stating that it is actually spectrum. I just want to be clear on that. But it is going to be attributed to spectrum. Spectrum represents still, nonetheless, the people of the state monitoring a relevant position and monitoring on the venue of the internet. And this is the use of the communication device, the television, to do so, engaging in the same exact documented conduct of interruption of the television, and the outward form is supposed to be, oh, it's not operating because we're coming to work on it, and it has been documented tons and tons and tons of times, engaging in that same interruption pursuant to what I'm doing in the room, and also pursuant to an ongoing unlawful motive of harassment and threatening in concert with the entity. Okay, and so this is isolated to spectrum, which is an egregious actor. One of the main tools of the state's ability to monitor inside of a private space through inanimate objects, which is criminal monitoring in relevant position, in using a communication device. A television is a communication device. This is relevant to 18 U.S.C. section 2261A, all right? And it is also on the venue of the internet, all right? This is relevant to existing federal legislation. And this is also that which is attributed to the people in totality. But spectrum is such a prevalent actor inside of a private space. This is also informative as to how a government has, a public entity is systematically monitoring you while you're even inside of your home. The devices that you have around you, not only through their internet operation, but through the fact that they are communication devices and the ability to exercise control over those devices inside of your home, which, again, at this ratcheted up level of aggression, you're seeing the raw footage of the unadulterated demonstration of a government engaging in not only demonic, satanic conduct, all right, but it's criminal activity, monitoring, all right? But this is informing how a government is doing this, how a government is able to do it, and you're not even aware, you're not even aware of it, all right? This is how they're able to do so, and Spectrum is an egregious actor in that regard. This is a commercial actor, which is representing the people, a sex offender, all right? This is a legal concept to be introduced, using that brand, using that company, whatever logo, whatever guise under which the people engage in the state's criminal pattern of conduct, it's going to be prosecuted nonetheless, and also that brand, that company needs to be known and identified on the world scene as that level of a threat to an American citizen, whom it also seeks to be it wants you to be a consumer. It wants you to think that they're so great and that they pose such a benefit to society. And no, you do not. No, you don't, because this is the reality. And not only that, it's not only criminal and abnormal, it's satanic. So understand the truth and the identity of this commercial business or whatever it is that you are supporting, that you are a consumer of. You do whatever. This is just the revealing of the true identity of the people of the state. The people of the state are the ones that are operating this company, the company business, those who are wearing the uniforms, those who are in operation identifying under that company name. That's all it is. And that is why under federal law, there is no differentiation between the people of the state and nothing but a guise. In other words, nothing but a cover, a brand, whereby the people of the state, the same actor, is engaged in the same criminal activity. That's not going to be any guise. You're engaged in the same criminal conduct, and it's threatening to do so in that manner, and you are intentionally doing so, seeking to obviate being identified. You're not obviating anything. And not only that, that company, that brand needs to be outed as that violation, as that threat in American society, because that's the reality of it. All right. It is 1 p.m. on the dot, and that is the P.O.C. All right, it is 1:07 p.m. and the same pop-up is present, program not available. This is the group stalker that's sitting outside. I just wanted to capture the group stalker is standing in relevant position, the ones that I captured on video. And like I was saying, jiggling, he's seen on the surveillance cameras. It is currently right now 1:08 p.m. I wanted to capture what is the ongoing use of the pop-up program not available, not authorized, 0:0102, and that is the same interruption of the internet operated television, the communication device. And I also want to speak to what is the simultaneity with which the group stalker that was loitering in relevant position at the staircase, he runs down the stairs as he is listening to me move inside of the room. His ongoing creation of audible activity which the state was creating, right? He's holding some sort of metal thing, like he was doing when I was recording the podcast for Spectrum, and you're hearing jingling, and I analogized it to that's the state's ongoing creation of audible activity, which is amplified in volume, and it is for purposes of monitoring and for the demonic hostility that is communicated through their very engagement in the criminal elements for monitoring audible activity creation while they're listening to me document. And so I turn on my podcast to start recording, and I'm already aware that he is loitering in relevant position. Like I said, the activity that they create, they're creating it to monitor, but I necessarily hear it also. Okay, so I'm already aware of the presence, but also, let's be clear, just because you hear it, that does not mean that there's actually someone there. The state literally manufactures noise which is targeted inside of the area where I'm at. Okay, that's the state's pattern of conduct. Group stalkers maintain presence, and that's supposed to be the outward guise under which that noise that you're hearing, which is extraordinarily loud, which is occurring under the state's light, is supposed to be the explanation for that. He's loitering in relevant position outside of the door nearest the staircase. At the moment that I get up to capture a picture of him as he's monitoring while I'm on my podcast, and you hear him begin to jiggle, or you hear the sound of what's supposedly like metal jingling. He's loitering in relevant position, and he runs downstairs the moment that I get up to open the door. Again, they know what I'm doing while I'm inside of the room. Okay, those are the same ones I already captured his image, the Spanish-speaking one, and he was loitering, and that would also be seen on the surveillance cameras. That's what his inspiration is at the moment. At that moment, when I am getting up and opening up the door, he runs downstairs, the staircase nearest my room, and he goes underneath to the first level. After remaining for that prolonged period of time, monitoring, aware of what I'm doing on my phone, and where that I've turned on the television, for example. And my point in turning it on, my podcast on, was because I want to speak to what that is. That's the freaks, the people of the state that were just in here monitoring with the state. That freak is outside of the room, group stalking, standing at the staircase, running downstairs as I am coming to the door. All right, real-time awareness of everything that I'm doing, which is what the people are doing on a ceaseless basis. What I want to capture is the ongoing use of the interruption of the television, having nothing to do with some third party claiming to be Spectrum, that they're inserting some coaxial cable, and that the television is not internet operated. And I want to be clear, this is the same P.O.C, and it is ongoing harassment while Spectrum is monitoring on the venue of the internet and inside of a private space, engaged in corporate invasion of privacy, acting with and literally facilitating the government's ability to do so, and the government's ability to harass in any way that it can at its disposal. This is the resourcefulness of the public entity that's monitoring. And so I just turn the television back on after the people come in and state, oh, well, we need to come in and do this, and that's why the television's not working, and that is no explanation for the ongoing prolonged documentation of that same method of interruption of television, aside from the parental block. And so I just want to be clear, they came in and created all that activity, and it remains out of operation in that same pop-up. It's nothing but a pop-up on the television. This is not the demonstration of the television not working. It's a demonstration of absolute control over the television, which is internet operated. Okay, and that is also capturing the group stalker claiming to be Spectrum. And invading the room in order to criminally monitor while claiming to be Spectrum, and acting in concert with the people of the state at Economy Inn. That is P.O.C, and it is 1:12 p.m. And that is the significance also of the images that I am taking. I want to show what is not only does the block show, but then it starts moving around like it's a screensaver on a computer, moving around on the television screen. This is not the absence of ability to operate. This is absolute control over the television. And so I want to show that. And also, you have what is, let me see. As I'm showing, I'm taking pictures of it now. The guide works. The Talk, Channel 2 is on the Talk. SpongeBob SquarePants is on Nickelodeon right now on Channel 218. The guide is showing the television, which is also showing internet operation, internet functionality of the television. This is blocking the screen in the same way that Spectrum does. This is all based on internet control, okay? You can block the screen. You can block the audio while you keep the screen on. You can interrupt the screen, scrambling the screen. This is all internet control, all right? It's not the inactivity, like I've stated, and it is also not the case where the government is monitoring you, but I'm just pointing out these are tactics of engaging in monitoring and also engaging in harassment while these group stalking freaks, like the one I just captured, he was in this room, and he's the one on video clearly seen, and he's the one that was outside at the staircase and runs downstairs as he knows that I'm getting up off the bed to go to the door. They're sex offenders, they're psychopaths, and this is satanic conduct. And this is Spectrum directly engaged in that. It's Tuesday, June 1st, 2021, 1:13 p.m., and ongoing interruption of the television, which is a means of harassment by the people that are monitoring. And so this is a sex offender that is engaged in kidnapping, that's engaged in ongoing physical abuse and threatening conduct while it is trying to harass because it's monitoring your documentation, because it is hostile to the fact that you are monitoring it. This is all going toward that prosecution. It's 1:14 p.m. and that is P.O.C, and those are images that are captured.
Okay, checking your in my end, last 30th of May, they already received the dispute form.
You did receive it?
When I checked the next stop, they already received the dispute form.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I don't mean to be difficult. I'm just trying to understand what you're saying. You said you did receive it. Is that correct? Yes or no?
We already received it.
Okay.
We received the dispute form.
You
That
received
was
it.
faxed
Okay.
as 30th.
Okay, just want to make sure because so you got all 4 pages, because the reason why I needed to call is because I only received 2 pages back that were faxed, and I don't have the totality of the document, so I needed to make sure that you got pages 2 and pages 4 as well, because page 4 includes additional statements that I made, which is relevant to my inquiry with regard to this alleged transaction dispute that I'm making. The fact that nobody else had my card but me, but I did not make the charges. So that's what is peculiar about the issue. But nonetheless, I appreciate your handling the situation. So you're saying you reviewed it already, or what happened?
Okay, our offline team provided a note just today, okay? They already provided a credit on your account plus 31. That would be yesterday. And any applicable fees had been reversed already. And they already sent you a letter in a mail just today. They already sent it. And disputed amount of $163.70 that was.
So this is it. Okay, I'm sorry. Can we slow down, please?
Credited to the card.
I'm sorry. Can you slow down, please? I heard most of. I understood most of what you said, but can you repeat again? You said you already sent a note. You said that you're going to basically give me the money back, right? Is that what you're saying? Yes or no?
It was It was already credited back on the 31st of May.
And what is the amount that you...
would be yesterday.
Okay, thank you. What is the amount that you're crediting me back? That's what I didn't understand. 100 and what?
Okay, $163.70 that was credited on your card.
So that was 100. So 163. Right? 163? Is that what you...
Yes.
Okay. I'm just making sure. I'm sorry. I'm just making sure I hear you correctly. Okay. Thank you. All right. I don't mean to interrupt you. You can go ahead. You can proceed. So I got that. You're sending me a letter in the mail, and you sent the card to my employer, or what?
That's the thing. I need to double check that in my hand. But this particular card was sent to your mailing address. The mailing address associated with the card, please?
Sure. My mailing address should be...
Absolutely right. That is the mailing address associated with the card. So it will be sent to your mailing address, but it will be, you need to wait within 7 to 10 business days in order to receive it.
All right, and there's no way that you guys can expedite that, because it's actually been an exceptional amount of time that I've been without money that I actually never spent it. And what's extraordinary about the issue is that, again, what I want to stress is that I maintained possession of my card. No person possibly had any access to the card that remained in my wallet in my pocket. All right, literally. And I literally am under circumstances where it literally remained in my pocket. And this is requiring access to my account, not access to my card. And so I'm only bringing that up because I need immediate access to my funds. This is an extraordinary inconvenience, and it's something that, and there's nothing that, in addition to the fact that the charges that were made, they're in Mexico. I'm clearly in Ontario, and I clearly did not make it, and so I don't understand if there's someone else that I need to speak to escalate it, because I need my money sooner than that. This is something that is in no way precipitating from anything that I did at all.
Okay, Miss Spencer.
Yes.
The card. When I check the date on the calendar, the card will be delivered within the day, or it's either tomorrow.
Okay. Alrighty, and you're gonna send it to the mailing address. So do I need to activate anything with you?
You just need to activate the card.
Right, when I receive it from you guys?
Absolutely right, yes.
Oh, okay, and so you're going to send it to me and not to my employer. Is that correct?
Absolutely right, yeah.
Okay, and I did actually request that my employer, give me a replacement card. Am I getting a replacement card, or is that just something separate? Are you guys just sending me a brand new card, or what? Because my employer stated that the reason why I'm asking is my employer has stated that she has already received a card from you, and that all I need to do is activate it. But I wanted to call and confirm that, first of all, you got the totality of the facts with all 4 pages, and secondly, if in fact I need to activate anything with you. I get that you're saying you're going to mail me a card, but my employer is stating that she already has a card, so can you please clarify what it is that I need to do? Am I receiving 2 cards, or what?
You need to double check it with your employer. Cause from us, if we were processing the card replacement, automatically we send it to the mailing address.
Okay, it is
a personalized card. It is a personalized card, Miss Spencer. It has a name on it. The name was indicated on the card.
Right, that's my name.
You need to double check. You need to double check it with your employer. If your employer will provide you a card that doesn't have any name on it, okay, meaning that's not the card that we sent.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying you're going to send me a card with my name on it?
Yes, absolutely right.
Oh, I see. And because the original card that she had sent, that I got for my job when I was paid for working, it does not have a name on it. That's true. Okay. I understand what you're saying. So you're going to send me one that's got my name. I'd rather use that one with my name on it. That's fine. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Did I answer your...
Yes, you did.
But did I answer your question regarding to your concern today.
Yes, you did. Very well. Thank you. And thank you for bearing with me and repeating what you're saying. You have a little bit of an accent. It's absolutely beautiful, not complaining, but I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. Okay?
It's okay. But if there's anything else I could assist?
No, that's it. Thank you very much. You're going to send my card out in the mail today, though? Is that what you're saying? Or if it hasn't already gone out?
Today or tomorrow.
Oh, okay. All righty.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Miss,
Spencer.
Spencer, for calling for calling, and have a nice day for now.
You too. Bye. All right, this is just ongoing documentation. What I wanted to speak to is, first of all, this is the pattern of conduct. It is relevant to the state's pattern of conduct of what is harassment. Again, this is while I am being monitored inside of the third-party facilitating venue T-Mobile. I am capturing what is the state flying in relevant position, amplifying plane activity over my head at Holt Boulevard and Euclid Avenue. T-Mobile address is 101 North Euclid Avenue. The state's light source is directly over me at this time, and it is on the exterior of the building, obviously, where Amazon Prime is flying over, and I'm capturing also what is the state's light source directly remaining over my head at Euclid and Holt at 101 North Euclid Avenue. I'm on the outside of the T-Mobile building. And the reason why I'm being very precise with what you not only see in the video, but I'm describing what are the environment. All right, the state's engaging in the conduct of stalking with light. The state's engaging in the conduct with stalking via aircraft. The state's engaging in amplification of audible activity, and that activity was in the form of plane activity over my head. And while it is acting with the third-party group stalkers, who I was also documenting, including the Ontario Police Department, engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct, acting directly, that's the state's conduct, acting directly through the Ontario Police Department. And at this venue, as I am present to use what are an abundance of funds, well more than what I was going to purchase for like $10.30. This is the abrupt removal of the funds. Now, the entity that's monitoring maintains control over in the same way it maintains control over the environment, maintains control over circumstances where they are engaging in criminal activity and merely engage in the creation of information to substantiate that which I am documenting, but that which is supposed to be the reason for why it is occurring, as opposed to it being the very criminal conduct that I continue to document. Okay, and so what I was speaking to and what I documented on the paperwork, whether it was actually faxed to them or not, understand Rapid is a third party. This is the people of the state providing what is the documented audible activity. They're monitoring me, and that's exactly how that's going to go. This is precipitating from the state's criminal activity. The state can deny that all that it wants to. This is audible activity, and federal prosecution is indiscriminate. This is a third party. I'm calling on the phone pursuant to the removal of funds from my account. And this is a mystery to me because I've only used my card once, and that was on May 5th to purchase my cell phone, my Samsung Galaxy A12 from T-Mobile, the same venue where they're monitoring. That's threatening and harassing while they're monitoring with the state. And while I'm inside of this venue, as they use communication devices to even complete the purchase, all right, understand the state is able to monitor you in all of these ways. It's very informative, all right? So as they use communication devices to process my payment using my card, this is the removal of all of the funds on my card. After, by the way, I have remained, I left the property of Economy Inn on May 1st, activated my card on May 1st. I am literally keeping my wallet in my pocket while I am sleeping at the Museum of History and Arts. Okay, so no one has touched my card. It's remaining in my wallet, in my pocket, on my person. I returned to Economy Inn on May 5th, the night of May 5th, and I thoroughly documented not only the minions monitoring with the state, I also documented the ongoing state as it was literally flying by planes and helicopters over my head, circling around me as I walked south back down Euclid Avenue, and the state was documented as I returned, okay? This is the night of May 5th. May 6th, all the way up to the date of my attempted purchase at T-Mobile on May 18th. Let's be clear. I remain inside of at the property of Economy Inn, and at no time, even when so let's go through. When I stepped out of the room to document the minions at the exit of the 60 freeway, my wallet was in my pocket. Okay, my card was in my wallet, in my pocket, on my person. I went and completed purchases at a grocery outlet on May 6th when I did leave the room, all right? At no time has my wallet been outside of my physical possession. The reason why I am stressing this is because the use of my card is not based on the physical possession of my card. The theft of my funds. And so let me take another step back, because like I said, this is all occurring under the factual pretext of the state is stalking. The state is group stalking and monitoring with communication devices, and doing so via the people of the state of California. That is what is prefacing what is occurring. It is reasonably construed that where the government is monitoring you, this is something that's going to occur. It's not going to be some random anomaly. That's my point. Okay, this is just a common sense aspect of that. Okay, where the government is monitoring you. Okay, yeah, this is not separate from that documented pattern of conduct. First of all, second of all, for those who are also still not willing to concede to that very logical aspect of the documentation. Not only does the government acting via the people engage in such harassment, because that's what it is while it's monitoring, and you're also going to talk about the actual facts that I remained in physical possession of my card, regardless of my walking out of the room to go to the grocery store on May 6th. I documented heavily the minions outside at the 60 freeway, while the state's fake sun at that time in the evening was more so to the... I'm laughing not because it's funny, but it's so pathetic. You have... when you're looking at the whole big picture too, all of the documentation that is showing what the state is doing, which is also showing the true face of the people, which is the mask that the government is wearing as it's monitoring you, which is also the revealing of what is demonic activity made manifest, right? Which is also the stripping down of what is criminal activity by government. And so that's why I'm laughing, because it is so it's profound, the level of evidence against this entity. But like I said, as I stood there and the state's fake sun was beaming on me as I stood at that exit, and then I'm documenting as it moves north, like it did on May 18th when I'm at the room at the Economy Inn, and it's over the parking lot, just like it was this morning on June 1st over me at the parking lot. All right, in the same position. Pay attention in the afternoon when Tracy Banks' third party is taking me to T-Mobile, taking me to the grocery store to get food. This is well in the afternoon. The state's fake sun is in the same location. This is also the same location where the state's fake sun is captured at before 7 o'clock in the morning. It's in the same position. It's not different. The state is changing light it's supposed to appear as though it's rising, so it's a little more golden, and then as it's setting, it's supposed to be a little bit more golden in color. The state's not going anywhere with its light source. This is the same position where the state's fake sun is supposed to be directly over me at the very precise edge of where I'm laying at, where I'm sleeping at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts at the same time, and before and after that same time that I just captured today. But this is just an example of what you're looking at, what the state is doing. It's bare bones, okay? Bare bones criminal and demented conduct. Who engages in what type of freak weirdo even thinks of something like that? A criminal. But you're talking about that which is not of the natural. This is satanic, all right? This is satanic oppression. This is that which is operating over a government, and it is operating over a people that the government is acting through to target an American citizen. And being an American citizen is merely context for what is the violation of law, as we are in the United States of America, and the guise, I would say the patent hypocrisy of this country is that we're supposedly free. And we're supposed to be different from, say, South Korea or, let's say, Russia. And what I'm showing is that actually we're not. There is the engagement in the exact same conduct. What's the difference? You're talking about these other countries that are not so much engaged in trying to present itself as respecting the constitutional rights and human rights of its citizens, right? Of its natives. Whereas in America, the overwhelming commercial, if you will, because it's all a show. This is a show. What the government is showing, the government is displaying the reality of the situation in the United States of America. You only think that you're free. You only think that you have constitutional rights. Understand, it exists as long as they are doing the dance in front of you. You're thinking that they're engaging in what are the real respect for laws. It's a fallacy. It is a fallacy, and it is there for the rampant abuse at the will of the very entity itself. So you're talking about one who was revealing this. The fact that you are free is a joke. Okay, because if you are really free, the government is not going to be engaged in this and then trying to conceal the fact that it's engaged in it. This is the truth that is being revealed. Okay, the notion of constitutional rights, the declaration of, all of these rights under which you're supposed to be a free American citizen, which is supposed to be distinct from living in another country where, they don't value the quote unquote liberties and freedoms like in other countries that we're supposed to be so different from. No, understand that. No. This is a fallacy. That is the overwhelming significance on a big grand scale, the macro level analysis of what this is. Okay, because being an American citizen, like I said, is merely context. It's speaking to where I am. I'm in the United States of America, and the government is monitoring American citizens. There is no doubt about that. Okay, so we're speaking in context. But with regard to what the government is engaging, it's satanic. This is satanic oppression operating over a government, operating over the people that is acting in concert with that government. And what's the difference between the United States? The only difference between the United States of America and another country, all right, that it wants to contrast itself so greatly from, such as Russia. The only difference is that United States paints itself, it portrays itself as actually valuing the individual liberties and constitutional rights of its citizens. But that is not so. This is the ongoing evidence of that. I am not an anomaly. I only happen to be one that had the skill set and the ability and the wherewithal to literally reveal it. But let me be clear, because it's not only something that is on the surface. This system is malicious such that anyone alleging it is supposed to be written off as suffering a mental illness. That is the pattern of conduct. That is literally the reason why you engage in stalking in such incredible and unfathomable measures, because anyone that is claiming that is supposed to immediately be written off as that person is crazy. All right. And understand, as I'm documenting this stuff, I'm looking at what are crazy people, because I'm not doing it. I'm documenting it and I am reporting the facts. But I know very well, and this is the combination of not only having the spiritual eye, but having the legal skill set. All right. Having the wherewithal to be able to articulate what is going on, not only in the natural as you're witnessing it, but also in the supernatural, because it's evil. It is evil. And the context is that we just happen to be in the United States of America. That's only context. I just want to be clear. I am not an anti-American. I have already stated this. Not that I feel like I need to, I don't need to defend my patriotism, but it doesn't get any more pro-United States, pro-Constitution than myself. I studied political science because I believed in the Constitution, the idea of it, the idea of the Founding Fathers. That notion in and of itself, I mean, it's great. It is. It really is great. The notion of the Constitution, the notion of the laws, the notion of a government by the agreement of the people to govern over a people. This is a contract amongst the people. This is all a fallacy. This is what the government is revealing, the reality of the situation. When you're engaged in monitoring, that is in direct conflict with these ideals that we are conditioned with from day one. I mean, in school, and you're taught about history and the Founding Fathers and the Constitution and the government and how we're different from these other countries and how we had to separate and we went through war. Understand that this is about conditioning. And the reality of the situation, yes, it is context. I'm letting you know about the reality, whether you want to accept that or not. It's not in any way going to be the centerfold of federal prosecution in a court of law, but it is relevant. This is out of hell. This is satanic. This is the explanation for the extraordinarily weird and freaky conduct that the government is engaged in. That's the explanation of it. Because it's straight out of hell. That's where you come up with such weird and crazy tactics, because it's from Satan himself. All right? But the context is that I'm an American citizen. The venue on a bigger scale is the United States of America. This isn't supposed to be happening in the United States of America. Where do they do that at? Not in America. Everybody has their own little social media platform. Everybody has their voices. Everybody has their right to what they want, when they want it, as they want it. That's what it's supposed to be about in America. But this is not so. All right, this is the other bigger picture about what the government is engaged in. And I want to be clear that this is a fallacy that you're actually free. All right, this is a fallacy that the government is not actually hovering over you. So you're talking about those who are very much aware. They're aware. They're monitoring with the state. This is not a game. This is real life. I'm actually revealing this. Many are engaged in this criminal activity with the government. Okay, so you're talking about what are third parties. Now, I do not think that I am alone in that I'm the only one that's being monitored. You have those who are clearly not in any way adverse to having the government in there working with the. I mean, it's a matter of corruption at an unprecedented level, and even to that level, which has yet to really be fully exposed. And I'm speaking to like federal prosecution. I have revealed a lot in my documentation, and with regard to how you address it under legislation, but at federal prosecution, there is so much more that will even be revealed. Okay, the idea that this is a fallacy, that the government is monitoring people in the United States of America is no longer a secret. It's no longer a fallacy, and it's not even reasonably maintained as such. Okay, it's not. And anybody that does that in the face of objective evidence, because that's what the documentation is, it's objective evidence. That is how you identify a state actor and or third party. Because it's not reasonable. It is not reasonable. And what I am showing are the freaky tactics that the entity engages in. And that is also not only because it's rooted in hell, but also because it is intended to be that which is, first of all, incapable of being corroborated. But that is not the case. Documentation is showing the very fact that it's occurring, and I'm showing it to you. And not only am I describing it to you in real time, I'm showing it to you, okay? And I'm also narrating about it on my podcast, okay? And so I want to get back to what this is relevant to. My money being removed off of my card is in no way distinct and separate from the fact that the government is actively monitoring. First of all, number one. Number two, I have captured, while I'm at the venue, where the people of the state of California are monitoring me with the state's light source at that time on May 18th, 2021, the state is flying over my head. The state is keeping its light source, which is a fake sun, directly over me, very precise in its location, on the outside of the T-Mobile building, exactly where I am at, after I'm clearly capturing it being over here, over the parking lot. And this is what I'm comparing it. You're looking at where I just captured it again this morning. This is impossible to coexist, okay? This is blatant stalking with light, which is for the criminal purpose of monitoring, and the state is monitoring on a massive scale, and you are also going to legally analyze it when you're prosecuting the government. That is an unlawful threat. That's an unlawful molestation of my person, and it is unlawful harassment, okay, while you are monitoring with the people of the state. So you're talking about what is the removal of my funds as I seek to make a $10 payment on my phone where in a venue where they're monitoring, using communication devices to process that payment. And so as I maintain physical possession over my card the entire time, not only while I leave the venue of economy and from the 1st to the 5th, I return on the 5th. On the 6th, I step out, I document more minions. I go to make a purchase for food at grocery outlet. I come back to the room. I remain in the room. I remain at the venue. And no one has had physical possession of my card at all whatsoever. So this is what I'm stating is this is another way you are also looking at, besides the fact that it's not an anomaly where the government is monitoring you, but number two, nobody even had access to my card. Nobody touched it. No one. Nobody touched it. And I have my card. This is not a product of somebody having my card. This is based on access to my account. This is based on the ability to control it. And then not only are you exercising that control, then you go on ahead and manufacture details, information after the fact about how that money was taken out. And that is nothing but an aspect of details. Okay, the maintaining control over such information and the ability to create that information. Okay, and so that is P.O.C. in every way. It is the pattern of conduct, and it is directly related to what is harassment while the people are monitoring. Okay, I'm speaking to the people as I continue to document, if you pay attention, because the people are the vicarious aspect of the entity. The entity is already prosecuted. The pattern of conduct is established. I am prosecuting the people of the state of California who are monitoring with this entity and identifying as many of them as possible, and all the criminal tactics that they engage in maliciously while they are monitoring, showing that they are psychopaths. And you do use that form uniformly when you're talking about what is group conduct, when when you're talking about what is vicarious conduct on behalf of a government, when you're talking about group conduct that is identified by the behavioral patterns, you are making uniform statements like that. You are making categorical conclusions as such. They are not acting as individuals. This is identical conduct amongst a group. All right. And the relevant context is, yes, that it is of Satan. And that's just the truth. And the fact that I happen to be an American citizen, the fact that the venue is the United States of America, California, understand that that is also context as well, because it's supposedly happening in the land of the free. And this is revealing that you are not so free. No, you're not. And the people of the state, and understand, I happen to be in California, so you're talking about the people of the state of California. But the people of the state are a part of the government operating a criminal monitoring system. And it is a fallacy that you are not being monitored by the government, that Big Brother, in other words, is not over your shoulder in any way different than Russia or Korea, if you want to compare them and think that we're any different in this country, okay? And I'm just going to have to be honest about that. And this is not coming out of the mouth of someone who is not patriotic. Before I was even aware that monitoring was ongoing, this is why I studied law, okay? Because I believe in the law. I believe in the Constitution. Whether the government actually honors that or not, it doesn't. The government is engaged in literally wiping its hiney with the Constitution. It does not care about it at all. It does not care about it at all. This is the guise under which it is presenting itself as actually honoring the laws. But guess what? Those laws don't mean anything if they're not actually respected and honored and abided by. Okay? But let me speak to the flip side of that. The flip side of that is we do happen to be in the United States of America. Okay, we do happen to have laws that exist on the books, whether the government wants to honor them or not. And based on the existence of those facts, you can and you shall be prosecuted by those very laws, regardless of whether you actually want to respect them or not. Clearly, the government doesn't. The government does not care any bit whatsoever about your constitutional rights, about your human rights. And that is conduct that is established. It's already corroborated. When you're engaging in monitoring an American citizen, you do not care whatsoever about the law. And you are engaging in the most egregious form of criminal conduct documented about trying to conceal the fact that you are a criminal, that you're a pervert, that you have no regard whatsoever for the human rights and constitutional rights of your own citizens. All right. And then on the outward to the world, on the world stage, you want to present yourself as though you do. It doesn't get any more disgusting with the level of hypocrisy and criminality. This is the reality of the situation. Okay. And so with regard to that prosecution, understand just because the government disregards the laws as it is necessarily doing so when it's monitoring you, this does not stop the prosecution. You will uphold and enforce those very laws that the government is in complete disregard of in order to enforce your rights. That's the bigger picture. But so anyway, with regard to rapid, this is, again, as I documented, has nothing to do with somebody having my card. This is rooted in somebody having access to the account, exercising control over the account, and then also manufacturing what are the details for explaining how my money just disappeared. This is legally analyzed as the harassment by the people of the state. That's threatening conduct by the people of the state. All right. Their ongoing conduct as just engaging in all manner of just tampering with your life. This is what I'm documenting in the workforce. This is what I documented at these religious organizations engaged in harassment and monitoring you while they're supposed to be a church. It's not the genuine church. They're engaging in satanic conduct and it's criminal. They're religious organizations. All right. And this is every aspect of the life of the target individual who just happens to be an American citizen. OK, and you're talking about the ways in which the people of the state are engaging in that conduct. That is unlawful and they will be prosecuted for that. OK, so Rapid Bank, understand they are the people of the state operating under nothing but a company name. It's a commercial actor. All right. And that is P.O.C.
If you say, well, I was watching them, and if you were watching them, you would have seen, what's your dog's name? Diego come out, and you would have scooped up your little dogs just as you are now, and you would have said, listen, that's a much bigger dog, it's too big for you to play with, I'm going to take you inside until Diego's gone. But you weren't paying attention. You were gardening. You didn't even have your dogs in your eyesight, because you said the first thing that you did was you heard them barking. You weren't watching them, you heard them barking. So you have to have some responsibility yourself. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Now, how much money did you give her, if anything, for the vet bills?
Total ended up being $619.
Which means that she's probably out of it. pocket for $1,000.
No, I have right now.
All right, so this is monitoring that you're listening to, cutting the audio, and also scrambling the screen. This is internet operation. It is in no way malfunction. And I'm going to go ahead and take images of it as well. This Spectrum does this on a ceaseless basis. This is a means of ceaseless monitoring while I'm in the room, as I use the internet, as I use my phone. And like I said, scrambling the screen, removing the screen image altogether, stopping audio, keeping the screen on, just interruption of the audio, that's all activity creation, all right? And that is pursuant to ongoing control over the internet operated communication device, not a malfunction whatsoever. It's 4:50 p.m. It's June 1st, 2021. And this is monitoring conduct by third-party group stalker Spectrum, and this is on the venue of the internet as well, where they are monitoring me. Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying, madam? Do you understand what I'm saying?
And I'm truthful.
How many of the dogs within that complex?
There is Diego, her 4 dogs, and my 4 chihuahuas.
Do you ever take your 4 chihuahuas out to the common area?
No.
Why?
All right, so what I just captured are, and this is just a sample, like I said, Spectrum does this on a ceaseless basis, and it is used as a means of stalking with activity as well. And this is an example, because you're seeing what are lines. I'm just going to describe the visible activity, the interruption of the internet connection, which is how you can interrupt audio, you can interrupt picture, you can distort the picture, and do so with simultaneity to the activity as you are listening and monitoring and engaging in corporate invasion of privacy. And so this is an example. The lines that you see, I took pictures. The lines that you see on the screen, the other tactic is literally just blacking out the screen altogether and it coming back on, pausing the screen altogether, and then the television resuming, and also like scrambling the screen. And it is that which means it is a means of starting and stopping audio. That's audible activity. It is a means of starting and stopping the picture, which is creation of light activity and visible activity, okay? And using an inanimate object to do so. That is in relevant position while you're operating control over it. That is the element of monitoring. It is also on the venue of the internet. This is by a commercial group stalker, Spectrum, and this is the ways in which the people of the state engage in monitoring in a private space, and doing so in concert with the government, with the state, the public entity. Again, it is 4:52 p.m., and that is P.O.C.